I could feel the horror, okay? Because normally, sometimes when you watch some Nigerian horror movie, it's like, are we joking here? Like, okay, are we joking here? But this one, at some point, I was like, welcome to Reality Check with me, Adaeze. Here we discuss reality shows, movies, trending topics, and topics I find fascinating, okay? Yes. See, whatever criticism, whatever insult, whatever annoyance, grievance that you have against me, kindly leave it in the comment section. It is all valid, okay? Because I know that I have ghosted you guys for a while, and even though I think I have valid reasons for doing that, I'm tired of giving excuses, okay? So let's just jump right into what this video is all about. Ms Kanyin released on Prime on the 27th of June. The movie Ms Kanyin was directed by Ikechukwu Osai, and it is starring Temi Otedola, okay, and Michelle Dede, Kananga Jr. or Kanaga Jr. I don't know why I call him Kananga. Kanaga Jr., Carlo Ikagu, and so many other amazing actors and actresses. And you guys, spoiler alert, okay, I'm going to give a little bit of spoilers in this review. However, I'm going to try not to spoil it too much, okay? If you haven't watched it, I highly suggest you go and watch it. I'll try not to spoil it too much because I've gotten people tell me in the past that, oh, you gave the whole movie out and all of that, which I do on purpose for people who don't want to go through 2 hours of watching the movie, right? So yeah, basically it is a horror mystery thriller movie, and it is basically the legend of Miss Koi Koi or Madam Koi Koi. Was it Madam Koi Koi we used to call it, or Miss Koi Koi? I think we used to call it Madam Koi Koi, right? So if you're a Nigerian, I think it is peculiar to Nigeria, okay? If you're a Nigerian, especially one who grew up in the 90s and went to secondary school, especially boarding and secondary school in the 90s/2000s, you would know the legend of Madam Koi Koi, okay? I think the legend actually goes back way beyond, the 90s and the early 2000s, but I'm just saying, okay, that's one me I know. I was around in that era, right? So basically, the legend of Madam Koi Koi is that there is this spirit, that is the spirit of a woman who walks around in secondary schools, basically all secondary schools in Nigeria. Like, she walks around in secondary schools, you hear the sounds of her footsteps because she's wearing heels. So the koi koi basically is the ka ka ka, the sound of her heels. That's what we call koi koi, if you're not Nigerian or if you're not familiar with this. So basically, the legend, according to how I remember it, was that, at night, she walks around the school, and if you encounter her, she can, unalive you, right? So basically, this movie is like giving us a more fleshed out story of how Madam Koi Koi came to be, or how the legend came to be. So the story basically follows a student. Her name is Amara, which is played by Temi Otedola, and Amara is trying to get into Harvard. She has a conditional admission or acceptance into Harvard, but it is based on the condition that she passes all her courses, and she essentially is struggling with a particular course, which is French, right? And her French teacher, who is played by Michelle Dede, that is the Coinsola herself, her French teacher is also a very sweet person who has a little bit of resentment towards the school in general, or basically her students, but the school in general, because of different, adversities that she has been facing in the school, okay? Her love interest, even though they don't really have so much of a romance going on, but the person who is interested in her in the school is another teacher, I think he's the agri teacher, whose name is Mustafa, okay? Now, in this school, we have the principal. The principal's daughter is also friends with Amara. Principal's daughter is called Chisum. She's friends with Amara, and Amara has some other students who she's friends with in the school, including her best friend called Lami, and some other, guys. They are mostly at least upper middle class or rich kids And you know how rich kids are usually portrayed. They are spoiled, they are entitled, they don't really regard the roles. And yeah, so many things happened in the course of the movie, which then led to Madam Koi Koi appearing with the help of a mysterious tree that is in that village. And yeah, at the beginning of the movie, we kind of get a little bit of backstory of that tree. Basically, even during the colonial era in the 1890s and all of that, the tree was there and some things happened. I'm trying not to spoil this movie, okay? That's why I'm struggling here. I'm trying not to spoil this movie. But some things happened, and then fast forward to the present time. Even though they didn't give us the exact time that the movie was currently set in, from my deductions, the movie was set in the 80s, okay, like the late 80s, early 90s, right? One thing led to another, and we got to hear the story of the tree, and we now got to understand basically why Madam Koi Koi appeared. And yeah, just like the legend goes, Madam Koi Koi exerted revenge on a few people who kind of deserved it, right? That's basically what the whole movie is about. And you know, you guys just go and watch to understand what happened in the end, okay? I hope I tried. I try, because me, I like telling stories and I like to tell the whole story, but I tried not to spoil it, okay? So now let's get into other aspects of the movie, right? First of all, the performances were superb, okay? Okay, coming from me, talking about a Nigerian movie, okay? Yes, I'm one of those people who can't stand Nigerian movies on a good day. Yes, I own it with my full chest. It's not anything. It's just that I can't stand Nigerian movies on a good day because of the way I like to watch movies, right? So coming from me, trust me, their performances were really good. Temi Otedola, 10 over 10. She was very believable as a secondary school student. I mean, of course, you guys know her. She's kind of petite. She looks very young. So she was very believable. Her performance was very believable. And one thing I liked about most of the characters here is that they were not one-sided, okay? That's one problem I usually have with Nigerian movies, where a character is either incredibly evil or incredibly naive or innocent or incredibly good, sanctimonious and saint. It wasn't like that in this movie. Most of the characters, if not all the characters, were well-rounded, okay? Even the ones who deserved the revenge, like I said, they had some good parts to them, which we could see. Yeah, so with Temi Otedola's performance, even though she was this good girl, she was a prefect, she also had her dark side, which we got to see, okay? She was very determined, and the way she portrayed that determination was very, very believable, okay? Same thing, shout out to Michelle Dede. She was also incredible, okay? Amazing actress. Her performance was very believable as well. She's a French teacher and her French was very good. I mean, Temi's French is very good. I don't know how I know that, but I know that Temi Otedola can speak French really well. Okay, but Michelle, the way she spoke French, the way she portrayed her character was also very, very believable. She was very good with it. And one thing I like about her performance as well is that it wasn't all about her words. Okay, we could feel from the screen, you could feel her feelings, her emotions. She portrayed the emotions of the character really well. Notable mention is the person who played Mustafa. I think his name is Adaeze Jideonwo. You guys, I legit thought he was an Hausa guy. Like when I saw his name, I was like, huh? I legit thought he was an Hausa guy. The way he spoke, the accent, even speaking Hausa here and there. Really good, okay? His performance all round was really, really good. Yeah, even Carlo is the principal, very good as well. There were aspects of it where it felt a little bit overacting. He can be quite theatrical with his facial expressions. Okay, so a little bit here and there. Then the students as well, Kanaga and the other, people that portrayed students, I mean the main cast, the characters were really, really convincing. The chemistry between Mustafa and Koinsola, we have, they really meshed well. And even for the students, like I said, they had really strong performances, okay? If I had criticism of anybody's performances, it would be the performance of the younger students. But to be honest, it wasn't that bad, okay? Compared to, I've seen worse. Let me put it that way. I've seen worse, but there was a part in the movie where I could almost, this was a directing error, right? I could almost feel like they just shouted, action. Then people just started walking. That's how I felt in some scenes with the younger students. I could almost tell like, okay, they just shouted action and next thing, they're just walking. They weren't walking like regular students will walk, okay? It was too robotic, right? That's my only criticism when it comes to any performance. But overall, I'll give them very high scores because they actually acted really well. But aside that, I don't really have much criticism for how the movie was directed. It was done really well for the most part, okay? I mean, it's not a perfect movie. There are parts where, again, I was like, what's going on here? But for the most part, it was directed really well. The cinematography was on point, okay? The visuals were on point. The camera angles were on point. The use of shadow, the color grading. Like I said, even though the movie, they didn't specify exactly when the movie was set in, I could tell that it was set in the late 80s, early 90s because of how the movie even looked visually. The movie looked really good, but it was also very old school in the way it looked. And remember, this is a horror movie, and the way it was filmed, I could feel the horror, okay? Because normally, sometimes when you watch some Nigerian horror movie, it's like, are we joking here? Like, okay, are we joking here? But this one, at some point, I was like, it was really, really good, okay? The gore was quite explicit, okay? The gore, unaliving people and the way blood was just spilling here, even there was an accident scene and all of that, it was done well, okay? The accident scene, maybe not so much, okay? Maybe not so much, but that's just me being, nitpicking at it. The accident scene and all the killings in the movie, even the Madam Koi Koi, because when she kills someone, she basically, you first hear her footsteps. When she kills someone, the angle goes down to the shot of her leg, and then you see her walking, you hear the sounds of her shoes, then you see her walking, and then she'll walk over the body, right? So it was quite good. They were also really good with the music. I really liked the music in this movie. The music helped to set the scenes. It also helped to reinforce the era in which the movie was being portrayed to be shot in. However, when it comes to sound, I think my biggest criticism of this movie will have to do with the sound in the movie, okay? Don't get me wrong. The sounds were good though. They were actually very good, right? But they were too good. It now kind of removes you from the movie. I don't know if that makes sense. Because the sounds were too crisp, too sharp, too direct, it almost felt like I was listening to a podcast. It felt like I was listening to a podcast, basically. It didn't really feel like I was watching, this scene play out. Just stick with me, okay? For instance, you are in a classroom with so many students and everybody is rowdy, but you're not hearing any background sound. You're just hearing the actors' voices, okay? And also with the direction as well, the dialogue was a bit... I'll get to the dialogue anyway. Let's just stick to the sounds for now. The sound was a bit too crisp. Almost like I was watching even a stage play, you still hear background sounds. I wasn't really hearing background sounds. So, for instance, you are in like when they had an open day scene where parents came to see their kids, right? And normally when it comes to open day, you hear background sound now. These people are talking, everybody's talking to their kids in their different, on their different seats. But the way it looks in this movie, it felt like everybody kept quiet, waiting for the person that was going to talk. Like, for instance, you're with your mom. It's almost like you're with your mom, and when your mom is talking to you, everybody in that whole vicinity is quiet.
Yeah. So, I hear you're going after some record. In what?
Swimming. 100-meter freestyle.
How do you swim with that hair?
You ask him that every time, Dad.
Every time he looks ridiculous.
Thank you, Mom.
Are you a woman?
Who be me?
Do you get my points now? That's why it felt like I was listening to a podcast at some point. So that's to me, that's a minus because it kind of removes you from the experience and makes it look like you're just watching people recite their lines. Okay, that's how it felt. It felt like I was watching people just recite their lines. But yeah, that's my biggest criticism. However, overall it worked, right? Overall it worked, but that's what made the movie a bit too, I don't know the word. It's not even robotic, I'll call it. It made it a bit too acty. Is that a word? It made it too actish. So that brings me to the dialogue, right? But before that, the storyline was really good. I don't have any, like, I loved the storyline. It wasn't the usual, it wasn't the typical. It was very good. It was very, some parts again was a bit too modern for the time that it was set in. Okay, some of their dialogue, some of the things they did and said were a bit too modern for the era that it was set in. However, it didn't really take away anything from the movie, to be honest. It didn't really take much away from the movie. Or from the storyline. The storyline was really good, really unique. Even though, yes, it is about the legend of Madam Koi Koi, the way they went about it was fantastic. 10 over 10 minus nothing, okay? 10 over 10 across board. The story wasn't even so predictable, like with many Nigerian movies. In fact, with movies in general now, so many movies are so predictable. They keep recycling the same storyline over and over again, or each storyline follows a certain pattern. And if you're someone that watches movies a lot, you can already tell the end from the beginning, right? But in this particular movie, as much as we already know the story of Madam Koi Koi, it was still not a very predictable movie. A lot of things would actually come as a surprise to the viewers. But the dialogue in some scenes was too actish. It was too performative. A lot of times it felt like each actor was waiting for the other person to completely finish their statements before they jump in. It didn't feel very natural. That's the point I'm trying to make. Some of the dialogue did not feel very natural. It felt like, oh, talk your line, make I talk my line. You don't talk your line, finish. Okay, let me talk my own line now, okay? If you watched it and you felt that way, let me know in the comment section. It just felt, it didn't feel very natural in some places. Because it had to do with students, right? And a lot of times the students were either butting heads or teasing each other and stuff like that. In real settings, it's not finish your whole sentence or your whole statement before I say mine. In a lot of cases, in real settings, it's mostly as I'm talking, you're talking, we're just bantering or we're just quarreling and we're going back and forth. But here again, even with the whole no background sound or no background noise, it just felt very crisp and very, I finished saying my line, now you can say your line next. Also, to me, there were a little bit of plot holes here and there, but I don't want to dwell on them, or I try not to dwell on them while watching because I don't want to be too nitpicky about this movie, okay? Like I said, for a Nigerian movie, they did really well, okay? But I think Nigerian movies, to be honest, to be fair, Nigerian movies now have improved a great deal. Yeah, so especially the ones that are shown on Prime and Netflix and stuff like that, or in the cinemas, they have improved a great deal. But this one was really, really good, okay? The only part that I but I get it, okay? For horror movies especially, horror movies do not have the best plots most times, okay? Let's keep it a buck. Horror movies most times, for it to be real horror, for bad things to really happen, some of the actors or some of the characters have to make some very stupid decisions or do some things that are just like why didn't you just like, what the hell, man? Let me give an example. There was a part where they were trying to tell the principal or the principal was talking to his daughter. His daughter, she was trying to explain something to him and he did not even want to listen. Then someone else came and told him, oh, your daughter went to the tree, right? I'm trying not to spoil it so much, but they told him, oh, your daughter went to the tree. He didn't ask why. He didn't ask, what tree or where is the tree, or even if he knew where the tree was or what the tree was, he didn't even ask why his daughter was there or why his daughter was going there. The next thing was he just, made some irrational decisions and then left, right? So again, I try not to nitpick on some of those things because for horror movies, especially whether American horror movie or whatever country, for horror movies to really, play out, some of the characters have to make really dumb or illogical, decisions, which is fine by me. Okay. Editing was good. The pacing of the movie was good as well. Okay. At some point, it felt kind of slow, right? It felt kind of slow at the beginning part. No, not the beginning, like somewhere after the beginning, but not at the middle, right? Somewhere after the beginning, or let me just say the middle, right? It felt kind of slow. Then it picked up and, continued. Then towards the end, it felt very rushed. Okay, the ending felt very bim bam boom bam bim bam pow. Like it just felt very rushed towards the end. But again, this is me just nitpicking because I'm trying to analyze the movie for you guys. But while watching it, it wasn't that bad. But like I said before, the movie sets, the costumes, everything really worked. Very convincing, very believable. They had all these old phones. That's why the movie, I think the movie was set in the 80s, maybe 80s to very early 90s. They had those old phones. They had somebody had a Walkman there, which made me now feel like, okay, maybe it's early 90s, right? Someone had a Walkman there. But overall, the costume, even the outfits that the French teacher and the other female teachers wore, for men, to be honest, once a man wears a shirt and tie and a suit, he could have been in the 1800s or even whatever, like it could have been any era. Once a man wears a shirt and tie and suits, right? It could be, yeah. But for the women, it was really done well. Their hair, their outfits, the shoes, it was really, really done well. The video effects in the movie were quite good. Like I said, the gore was quite explicit. I don't know if it's because I don't really watch horror movies like that. I mean Nigerian horror movies. I feel like in this one, the gore was quite explicit. The way people were being killed, it was like, it was a little bit too much. Just a tiny little bit too much, right? Yeah. Then the CGI, I feel like they use CGI in some. No, I feel like they use CGI in some scenes. The CGI was, it wasn't all that. Like in the accident scene, like I tried to mention earlier, and there's a particular scene where somebody was killed. The person was thrown like out of a building. Those two parts were a bit, were a bit somehow, but overall, like I said, if you're just watching the movie normally, it won't really bother you so much. It's not so jarring. It's not so out of place. Like it all works together. Okay. So yeah, basically overall, I like the themes of the movie. Even though it was a horror movie, there were still scenes of affection, friendship. Yeah, friendship was really a big thing in the movie. I loved the female friendships and the way the ladies interacted with each other. I also, to an extent, loved the relationship between the principal and his daughter. Yeah, the movie had some really nice messages that we can all learn a thing or two from. Overall, my thoughts on the movie is, like I said before, I actually enjoyed this movie. I actually enjoyed watching it. I loved so many things about the movie. In fact, I don't mind watching it again. Coming from me, I don't mind watching it again. And trust me, there are so many movies that, I'm not even talking about Nigerian movies, I mean movies in general. I hardly watch movies again. I can watch some series again, but movies, I hardly watch movies again. I'm filming this video on the 27th, which is the same day that the movie was released. I haven't seen any buzz online. I haven't seen any online chatter. I only saw this movie on Temi Otedola's page, and I decided to watch it, right? So I've not even heard anything or seen anything about this movie. So I would really like to hear and see what people have to say about it after I've given my thoughts. Okay, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about it, but I'm also going to go online and hear what people have to say about it. Let me know if I'm the only one that is different, because I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. Okay, I love the fact that it was centered around a story or a legend that we all grew up with. I wish we can have more Nigerian movies that will do that, okay? Because we have so many stories, we have so many indigenous stories that really was a part of so many of us growing up, okay? It was part of our childhood experience, part of our culture, part of our tradition. You know, there's so many stories that I wish right now Nigerian movies can go back and try to flesh out some more, give us some more context, or just tell the story as it is. Whatever the case is, I love the storytelling in this movie. For my overall rating, I'll give the movie a 9 over 10. Does this my review make you want to go and see the movie? If you've seen the movie, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you've not seen the movie, I can also know your thoughts in the comment section, but try and go and watch the movie, okay? Thank you guys. I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.